Am I wrong for throwing my wife a birthday party and royally pissing my mom off? My wife and I are currently staying with my parents because we just couldn't afford the cost of living in this area. We are both currently looking for better jobs and or something cheaper, but it is what it is right now. My mom and wife share a birthday and there aren't words for how much my mom hates this. There were lots of whining in the beginning, jokes about can I just get a new girlfriend, and as of right now, she does her best to avoid my wife the entire week of the shared birthday. Outside of that, she's a decent mother-in-law, mostly pleasant to her, but their relationship is surface level, and they both could do without the other. My mom is currently at home recovering from surgery from a torn ACL, so she isn't doing much this year, though my dad got her cake, food, and easily thousands of dollars worth of presents. Okay, so her birthday is very important to her, I see. My wife has been feeling pretty down due to our living situation and some external factors, and I wanted to cheer her up. I asked my dad if we could have some people over. He said yes, but to be fair, I didn't specify it was for a birthday party. I'm not sure he even remembered it was my wife's birthday, as he is totally disinterested in her, and he was in the middle of doing stuff for my mom, who was acting very princessy about her surgery. I invited our closest friend and set up a nice little party for my wife. At some point, my mom did come down and realize what was going on. I saw her look at the decorations and cake and she looked pissed. My dad quickly ushered her away and promised they would go out when she was better, but she said it wouldn't count. My dad came back and muttered to me that I'm an asshole for doing this and called me insensitive and a mooch. He's a mooch? Really, Dad? When you're the one who's buying her thousands of dollars worth of gifts and protecting your daughter that doesn't even exist, but he's the mooch? Okay. He came out an hour later and shut the party down as he claimed we were being too loud. I don't think we were, but it was getting late, so I didn't mind too much. My wife loved it and had a great birthday. I fully intended on cleaning up myself, but was too tired to do it that night. My mom came down in the morning and saw the things still up and got pissy again. I was in the process of cleaning them and told her not to worry, I would take care of it. She just glared at me and stormed off. My dad came back down and berated me for throwing it in my mom's face that my wife got a birthday party and she didn't, and told me he can't stand me and can't wait for us to leave. I told him they are both being crazy and my mom doesn't own the date. He shot back that I tricked him as he didn't realize it was a birthday party, to which I laughed and said maybe he should know his own daughter-in-law a bit better. He complained to some family and now my aunt and her husband are calling me an asshole as well. To be clear about the mess, my mom only cared because she saw birthday stuff. She has never in her life cared about a mess. She once threw a handful of glitter in her own living room. I only brought it up to let her know I wasn't planning on leaving it for the housekeeper as I thought that would be disrespectful. I was brought up by family vloggers and it ruined my life. I, 17 female, was brought up by parents who family vlogged. They started vlogging when I was around 7 and stopped 3 years ago. I want to hugely avoid speculation as to who my family is, so I won't be sharing much more detail. The channel had over 500,000 subscribers. My parents finally stopped when there was a mental health crisis in my family as a result of the channel. This was never shared online. If you are a family vlogger or are considering it, please read this and consider my perspective. I've wanted to share for a while but didn't know how to. I loved it for a while. I loved being center of attention while the camera was on and I loved getting more toys. I stopped loving it when I realized the only time I got attention was when the camera was on, and the only time I got toys was when I performed in a way I was meant to. I'm going to list some stuff that happened and how it affected us. My siblings and I were so paranoid there was a camera on us that the only place we felt comfortable changing was in the bathroom with the lights off. I couldn't talk to my mom about anything when my mental health began to get bad because I was too scared she would share it online. If I had asked her not to do it, it wouldn't have made a difference. I now barely have a relationship with my mom. My mom considered homeschooling us so that she'd have more time to make content during the day. My best friend's mom said that she didn't want my friend to be my friend anymore because my mom kept filming her without permission. My mom didn't care how upset I was. I didn't have a single private moment. My mom woke me up with the camera on and she often filmed right until we went to sleep. She filmed us in the bath, and although she tried to get it off the internet, it's downloaded and online forever. She shared when I got my period, even though I told her I didn't want her to. Someone attempted to kidnap my sister and found it easy because they knew her full name, address, school, and details about her. My sister didn't know he was a stranger because he knew so much about her. And there's obviously a lot more.
Year was 2011. I was about to graduate. This guy named Jake had a crush on me all throughout high school, but it was very much he was a punk, she did ballet type vibe, so we all knew that it wouldn't work out. But then my friend told me that Jake told her that he was gonna profess his love to me before graduation, and she said you have to be super, super nice to him because he's way more sensitive than you would think, and when you reject him, you're going to crush him. I said, yeah, sure, I'll be super nice to him. Thanks for the heads up. But then 3 different teachers pulled me aside and told me the exact same thing. And now I'm stressed out because all these adults are expecting me to manage this young man's emotions. Especially stressed out because a few years earlier, this kid Eric asked me to go to homecoming, and I said, I'm so sorry, I can't go to homecoming with you because every year my family travels to California to help my aunt harvest her persimmons and her walnut orchard, which sounds insane, but it was true. And he told everybody that I was a bitch and that I lied to him, and people were like, it's real messed up what you did to Eric. And then my family canceled the trip to California, which made me a liar. So I didn't go to homecoming. I just went to drop off all my friends and lied flat on the bottom of the minivan so nobody would know that I was still in town. I was so freaked out that I started hiding from Jake. Like on the last day of school, he saw me from down the hallway and was like, hey, and I was like, hey man. And then I ran up the stairs with my friend, hid under the desk of the basketball coach / history teacher. And then we heard footsteps and we were like, Cade has found us. It wasn't Cade. It was just Coach. And we said, hey, Coach. And he said, what are you girls doing under my desk? And I said, there's a boy who's going to tell me that he's in love with me and I'm scared. Coach said, listen, Kate, you just got to be honest with this guy. Just tell him you don't like him. Sure, it'll hurt for a little while, but he'll be fine. Who is it anyway? And I said, Cade. And Coach went, Cade, he's so sensitive. He's going to be crushed. Stand under my desk for as long as you need. Then Cade tried to talk to me as graduation was starting, and I was like, dude, the line's literally moving. We're walking to graduate right now. I can't talk. The final boss level of avoidance was an annual end of the school year festival we had on the beach, and I saw Cade walking towards me, and I ran into my friend Ryan's arms, and I was like, I graduated, yay! And then he tried to release me, and I was like, don't let go. And he said, do you think if we hug long enough, Cade will think we're dating and not come over here? And I said, yes. And Ryan said, well, it's not working. Here he comes. And I said, run interference. And I fled from his arms and into the woods. Cade followed me into the woods. I couldn't see him behind me because the trails were all twisty, but I could hear his footsteps pounding behind me. So I exited the woods into a parking lot, and I saw a truck. The cover was on, the flappy thing was down, and I dove into the back of the truck. Luckily, nobody was having sex back there. There were just a bunch of kids from my high school hanging out in the back of the truck, and they let me stay with them, and I watched as Jake came out of the woods, looked around confused, and then walked back to the festival. I am aware that this story does not reflect well on me, and if I could go back in time, I would handle it differently. But you know who really didn't handle this well? All the adults involved. I just had the most chaotic doctor's appointment of my life. Mostly my fault. I woke up this morning and it was one of those doctor's appointments that you're not supposed to eat for. But I didn't realize until this morning that the only reason I get out of bed in the morning is to eat. So I lied in bed for so long because my brain was like, but if no eat muffin, then what point? And I lied in bed for so long that I forgot I wasn't supposed to eat. I started eating the gummy bears that I keep in my bedside table. Gummy worms. Why did I say gummy bears? I'm nervous because there's somebody watching me. I'm probably going to have to move. But that's an embarrassing thing to tell your doctor you ate for breakfast. But I got rushing into my appointment and I was late. So I said, sorry, I'm late. And they said, you're not late. Your appointment's tomorrow. But we'll fit you in now since you're here. And this nurse took me to this room and she hooked me up to an ECG machine. It's a bunch of like stickies with wires. If you don't know what it is, it looks like the torture machine in The Princess Bride that they hook Wesley up to in the Pit of Despair. So she's hooking me up to this non-torture machine that looks like a torture machine. I'm lying on my back shirtless and I covered my belly with my arms. And she said, oh, sorry you have to be shirtless for so long. And I didn't know how to tell her that I wasn't covering up my stomach because I was shy about my body. I was covering up my stomach because as I was lying there, I thought, when was the last time I cleaned my belly button? Like, yeah, sure, I shower, but when was the last time I really got in there and cleaned it? And I was scared that there was, I don't know, but I covered it up and she left the room. And then I'm like, got all these wires on me and I tried to like get up to see my own belly button and she walked in on me like this and she said, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm just admiring all the wires on my body. Also, she had to put stickies on my legs to hook my legs up to the machine, and I was like, whoo, good luck with that because I'm depressed right now. And the only time I shave when I'm depressed is when I'm having a big blowout cry because I'll be in the shower, right? And I'm crying and I'm hugging my legs and the prickliness of my legs distracts me from how sad I am and that bothers me. So I shave my legs so I can enjoy my cry properly. And so it was just a briar patch down there. Then the doctor comes in, smacks my knee with a hammer. Nothing happens. I didn't think anything was supposed to happen. I thought that the reflex reaction was just a thing that happened in movies. And then he hit my other knee with his hammer, and I made the sound that a dog makes when you step on its foot, because I forgot to tell him that I scraped my knee recently. And I was excited about it. I was like, awesome, I'm gonna have a cool scar on my knee for summertime, and everyone's gonna think, ooh, she plays hard, she's badass. No one's gonna know that it's because I tripped outside of a Panda Express while while a man was holding a door open for me. So at the time I wasn't upset about it. I was like, skin heals for free. I'm more upset that I ripped my leggings. But when I was a kid, I healed like a vampire in a TV show really fast. And now I heal like a sloth taking a shit. Like it takes forever and it's not pretty. So I've had a gimpy leg for 10 days. The doctor comes in, bonks it with a stupid Dr. Hammer. And he apologized when I yelped, but said, hey, we got a reflex.
Am I the asshole for refusing to tell my husband the gender of our baby after he skipped going to the doctor's appointment with me? This is my husband and I's first baby and we're so excited. The thing is, he barely attends any doctor's appointments and his excuses aren't even valid. He's willing to miss the doctor's appointments over soccer or a drink or a game with his friends. His response is always, I'm not the one carrying the baby, so why do I have to go see the doctor? Last week was my final straw. He was supposed to come with me to the gender reveal appointment, but chose not to come because his friend invited him to fish and chips. I was pretty livid, but didn't make a fuss about it. Mom went with me instead. Woo! Am I the asshole for refusing to tell my husband the gender of our baby after he skipped going to the doctor's appointment with me? He texted asking me to tell him the results, but I refused to tell him. He kept on spam calling me, but I hung up each time. He came home fuming, demanding I tell him the results, but I refused. I bluntly said that since he refused to attend the appointment, then he gets no results till after the baby's born. He went off calling me spiteful and immature for doing this and punishing him. He said he's the father and has the right to know, and then called me dramatic since I wasn't alone and my mom was with me. He's been fuming about it and told his family, and now they're pressuring me to stop playing mind games and just tell him. Am I the asshole for silently getting up and walking out of the restaurant during New Year's Eve dinner after I was told to pay for everyone at the table, aka my in-laws? I, female 32, recently inherited a good amount of money from my mom. I keep the money in a separate account as I still haven't decided what to do with it and don't want it to go to waste. I noticed my husband constantly bringing up the inheritance money and making countless suggestions as to what I should do with it. Another thing is that he expects me to pay for nearly everything for the past couple of weeks. For New Year's Eve, my husband and I met up with his family at a restaurant and it was going fine until I found out I was supposed to pay for everyone.